Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cardman Cards. I'm the Cardman. Who else would I be? I know it's been a while since the last upload, but shit's been crazy. Bunch of shit's come out. Tier got hit, Cashier came out. Well, among those Visa Starfrost, if you know who Visa Starfrost is, you know the lore around him, and he has a bunch of different archetypes. Today we're going to be doing a Scareclaw deck list. Scareclaw being one of the archetypes around Vsauce, or Visa Starfrost. Vsauce for short. That's fun. Okay, we're going to start with the Scareclaw monsters. We run 3 Reichart. All of the Visa decks have a heart monster. Like, for example, this is Reichart. Tier has Rhino Heart, and then Cashier has Rise Heart. So they all have the same stats, which is 15 and 12, and then add some kind of thing to the deck. In this case, for Reichart, he adds a Scareclaw spell/trap on his summon. In addition to that, most of the Scareclaw monsters can be special summon from the hand to an adjacent Scareclaw column. Most of the monsters do that, so he can just summon himself on the board for free if you have another Scareclaw monster on the field. Now we're going to run 2 Astra. All the rest of the Scareclaws are level 3s, except for one, which is the new one. That's Scareclaw Kashtira. Astra, also, I forgot to mention that the Reichart is dark and level 4, as most of the other ones are Earth and 3s. But Astra is another little guy to search, and all the little guys, so all the level 3s, Earths, give effects to your Link monster, which in Scareclaw is going to be your big Tri-Heart, which they basically try to summon every turn. So Astra gives the effect to Tri-Heart, that he gains multiple attacks per defense position Scareclaw monster with different names. I believe that's correct. Yeah, that is correct. In addition to his same effect of Reichart that he can summon himself to an adjacent column. He has nothing on his normal or special summon. He has no summon effect. It just he gives that effect to the Link monster. Then we run 2 Acro. Acro gives 300 attack for each Scareclaw monster I control. Scareclaw monster I control. Oh, it's a defensive monster I control. That's right, defensive monster. So he gives your big guy a more boost. It's really easy to get over some of the big cards that can swing over Tri-Heart, because Tri-Heart is base 3k, and he gives you the ability to boost up and attack for more. Then we have the last of the little ones, Scareclaw Balone. Scareclaw Balone allows the Tri-Heart to do piercing, in addition to same effect summon to another zone of Scareclaw is adjacent to. So giving your big guy the ability to pierce, multiple attack, and gain attack just from all the little guys. And then we have the newest Scareclaw monster, Scareclaw Kashtira. This just came out in Photon Hypernova. It's relatively new. A lot of Kashtira people are running it just as a free 7. But his effect's a little different. He's still a free summon, but instead of summoning to adjacent column, he has to summon himself, then he banishes a Scareclaw or Kashtira monster from the hand or grave. In addition to that, he can attack in defense position, kind of like a Super Heavy Samurai monster. The synchros work because he applies his defense for damage calculation. In addition to that, during the battle phase, whenever a Scareclaw monster attacks, monsters your opponent controls cannot activate. Their effects are negated until the end of the battle phase, into the end of the turn. So yes, that is the newest one. He is psychic and he's level 7. Still Earth though, but good way to play around Tikaboo and things of that nature because he's psychic. Granted, Rivalry hurts the deck a good bit, so be wary of that. Same thing with Gozen. Gozen, you can't use your Reichart or summon your Links because they're all dark. Okay, since most of your monsters or your little guys are beasts, I didn't say that before, I don't think. If I did, I did. I don't know. Are beasts, so I run a small Tri-Brigade engine. This used to be bigger, but I cut it down when Scareclaw got more support, so I'm really only running 3 cards at this point. I'm going to run 1 Fractal, just to discard to send another card from deck to grave. If you don't know what Fractal does, Fractal can discard itself, and then send another Tri-Brigade monster from deck to grave to trigger the Tri-Brigade effects, which a lot of them have effects when they're sent to grave or anything like that nature. I do believe it has a second effect. Oh yeah, most Tri-Brigade monsters have a banish effect. You can banish any number of beast, wing beast, or beast warriors, and then link someone, a Tri-Brigade monster, banishing from your graveyard, so they can help you out with that nature. And then you have Nerval. Nerval, when he's sent to grave, you just add a Tri-Brigade monster outright from deck to hand. Normally you would run Kit and send Kit then Nerval to thin their deck more, but since I'm running a small engine, I only run Nerval. And Nerval has a similar effect to where he can banish monsters to summon a link summon monster. And then we have lastly is Kuraz. Kuraz is pretty much a free summon, because you can discard a beast, wing beast, or beast warrior monster and special summon him for free. In addition to that, he has the banish effect to banish multiple monsters to beast warrior, or wing beast monsters from your grave to link summon. Most of the Tri-Brigade monsters do that. Okay, that is all for the in-deck monsters of any real, I don't say value, but function. I count like 10 or so hand traps. A few of them are a bit mismatched, but it does what it's supposed to. I run 1 Skullmeister, which is just a graveyard negate. Anytime an effect in the grave is activated, negate that effect. I like running 1 and 1 because Ghost Spell covers things the Skullmeister doesn't, and Skullmeister does the inverse. Because Ghost Spell, when an effect is activated in the grave that adds a card from grave, deck, or extra deck, or someone's a card from the graveyard, or banishes a card from the grave, this would resolve. But Skullmeister just outright just negates the effect in grave. So I run 1 of each. You could run both, you can run either, or you can run whatever hand traps you feel like. These are just the ones I particularly run, and I see pretty decent effectiveness out of these. A pair of Effect Veilers. I would run more. It's just for how many negates I run. I like the 2 of. It's easy to see. If you can't see it, there's still other hand traps to hit. In addition to, I run a pair of Ashes. Ashes is really powerful, especially against some decks right now that need their searches and summons and adds. Because Ashes, whenever a card effect would add from deck to hand, send from deck to grave, or send a summon from the deck, you just negate the outright summon. I don't think I mentioned what Veiler does, but Veiler's an effect negate. When your opponent monster activates effect, you can discard this card and then negate the effect. And I run a pair of Ghost Ogre. Not super helpful in this format. It does help to a degree, but I could see just cutting these in general. I think I'm going to cut these for maybe a parallel Exceed or a couple copies of a Dark Ruin or more, which are super helpful in the deck. But Ghost Ogre, whenever a card effect is on, when a spell trap or monster effect is activated, when they're already on the field, you can discard this card and then target it and just blow it up. So it just blows out cards outright. Granted, they have to be on the field when the effect is activated. They can't be like a summon effect. They have to be already on the field. It has to be mainly ignition effect. This is really good for continuous spells or field spells, which Castira and Tyr and Sprite all mainly are using right now. So it's helpful in that sense. And then I'm running 3 Nibiru the Primal Being. Nibiru is really good in this deck because there's a lot of combo decks right now that summon a ton. I don't mean to mention Castira again, but Castira summons like a good number of times, and Nibiru being just a big board wipe to send your opponent's monsters, just to give your opponent monsters a token, as your big Link 3 just requires 3 effect monsters, so you're perfectly fine just linking that Nibiru away. What Nibiru does is when your opponent summons 5 or more times in their turn, you can send all monsters from the field to the grave and then summon Nibiru to your side of the field, and your opponent gets a token which attack and defense are equal to the combined stats of all the monsters sent. So he also works really well with another card, which you'll see here later on. It's a Scareclaw spell. Alright, that's for all the hand traps, and that's all the monsters in the deck in general. We're going to move on to the spells. Alright, I run 1 Reinforcements of the Army, because Rhoda searches your Reichardt, and Reichardt basically is your play starter. He basically gets everything you need, if not additional extenders. Most of them run it, it's just a one of. If you don't want to run it and just hope to draw them or run more numbers of them, you absolutely can. I just prefer running the Rhoda, so it's more searches. Then 3 of the field spell, which is Prime Planet Reichphobia. The field spell is really helpful, as whenever it's activated, you can just add a Scareclaw monster from the deck to the hand. In addition to that, all monster opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense for each efficient monster on the field, as Tryhard puts them all in defense as he's on the field. Also, it has an ignition effect. If there's 3 or more defensive monsters on the field, you can target one card on the field and just destroy it outright. So it's helpful for cleaning board, getting your opponent's monsters attack weaker so you can hit over them with other cards, like Tryhard. And then after the field spell, we run 3 Scareclaw Arrival, which is basically just Monster Reborn for the deck. It just targets a Scareclaw in grave and summons it. So it's pretty helpful just getting your combo off. This is one of the main cards you use for full combo. In addition to that, whenever a Scareclaw and Link monster would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card instead, replacing the cost. So replacing the effect. So it's really helpful for dodging blow-up effects that your opponent tries to blow up with spell and trap removal or anything of that nature. Then I run 2 Defanging. Some people only run 1, if not run this at a card at all. But basically what Defanging does is, Link monsters, Scareclaw Link monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. So basically stop your opponent from Valoring your combo, which includes a Link 1 of Lightheart that adds field spell. So they can't target, they can't negate that, they can't negate Tryhard, any of those 2 cards they can't negate. And they also can't just outright destroy them with card effects. So they have to swing over them or banish them in another sense. In addition to that, Defanging also has a second effect, it's Ignition, that I can banish a Scareclaw Link monster from my grave and just destroy a card. So it's another pop. And then also it gives the your Link monster the effect of whenever a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle by a Scareclaw Link monster, it's banished instead of sent to the grave. So cards that rely on things being in grave hurt a good bit. Tier, for example, is they really need their fusions to go back to grave to recycle once they hit them. But this would stop that. Next up, we run 1 copy of Straddle. Straddle is basically a weaker version of Defanging, as it has target protection as well. It's one of its effects. It's a quick play spell. You can activate one of the following effects: target 1 Scareclaw monster in the field or Visa Starfrost, and your monster zone or face up and attack. And then 1 monster your opponent controls, the targeted monster on your field gains the attack of your opponent's monster. Also, it has a different effect. You get one or the other. Whenever a card effect is activated that targets a Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost, you control and negate the effect. You can only use 1 straddle per turn. So this is good. If you don't see the defending, this is just another easy way to get rid of target negation or anything like that. In addition to this, like I said, this really works well with Nibiru, because Nibiru is going to summon a giant token to your opponent's side of the field. So you just play Straddle, target your opponent's token, and then target Tryhard. Tryhard's going to gain the attack of the token, which is normally a lot. There's some games where it's been like 11,000 or something stupid like that. And just kill them that way. Alright, that's all the Scareclaw traps. And I run 2 5-formation 10 key. I run 2 of these is mainly just to see Fractal more, so I can get through them faster. You could easily cut this entirely, if not, just not run the Tri-Brigades at all. I know some people are running more of a pure build and not really running this Tri-Brigade cards. But I like them because it allows you to search for their Trap, Revolt, which is also really helpful in the deck, because you can banish Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast, and then then immediately link someone for Tri-Brigade Link monster. So this just searches a Beast Warrior. Fractal's a Beast Warrior. It just searches Fractal. It's the main reason. In addition to that, it gives Beast Warrior monsters 100 attack. Not super helpful, but you never know when you just need a little bit of a extra attack, because Tryhard is a Beast Warrior, so it gains the extra attack off a tanky. I run one Called by the Grave, just to stop hand traps, because hand traps are evil. Go away, hand traps. Just to make sure my opponent, like, oh, I'm going to ash this. Nope, no, you're not. Just to stop my opponent from stopping my plays. Then I run one of each of the Scareclaw traps. Twin Saw is marginally better than Splash. There is a third one, alternative. It's okay. It kind of got outclassed by Twin Saw when Twin Saw came out, but it's still, if you feel like it's viable, I would run it. But it's not super helpful. It just helps turn off Link monsters. But Twin Saw does that in addition to it, so you don't really need alternative. So I run just one of each of these. Twin Saw is when you contribute one Scareclaw monster, then target 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them, and if you destroy them. If you control Vissa, Starfrost, banish the destroyed monsters instead of them in the grave. Then you can banish this card. Doesn't matter doesn't matter when. You can send it on the turn it's summoned, whatever. And then if there's a Link 3 monster on the field, neither player can activate Link monster effects for the rest of the turn. So this counters the Link counter of other decks like Salamangreat. What is it? Evil Twin / Live Twin, Sky Striker, things of that nature that require Link monsters, and that turns them off for the turn. Splash is much simpler. Splash allows any Scareclaw monster to attack in defense position. It targets it and makes it a ability. In addition to that, when this card's face up, there's a face up Scareclaw Link monster in the actual monster zone. You can send this card from the face up of the field to the grave as a negate. It doesn't destroy, just a negate. It's basically a slower imperm, really. Then I run one Revolt, just to hopefully see it. If you open it, it's okay. Rather search it off of my combo play, going through Bear Brum just to search it, and putting back other cards I don't need for later. Revolt allows you to special summon any Beast Warrior monster, Winged Beast that are banished from your graveyard, but negate their effects, and immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one Tri-Brigade Link monster, using the only monsters you summon off this effect. You can only use one Revolt once per turn, which is perfectly fine, because you normally try to do this when your opponent blows up your board and you want to summon Shurag on them, which is a non-target banish when he's summoned, and anytime a Winged Beast, or Beast Warrior is summoned as well. And then to round out the last of the main deck, I run 2 Infinite and Permanent, just more hand traps to help stop my opponent. I can set these and turn off spell and trap columns if I need to. But that's mainly it, just more negates to stop my opponent from comboing and doing a bunch of shenanigans. So that's the main deck. I'm going to move to the extra deck. Oop, my deck's flying everywhere. Alright, there we go. Here's the extra deck. I won 1 Link Karibo, which is just mainly to link off the Nerval if I happen to open it. I know it's like specifically just for 1 card, but if I can get the Nerval linked and going, I can add Kuraz to hand, which can help me extend my plays and things of that nature. So it's really helpful. You can also run Almirage instead, because Almirage is just any normal summon monster with 500 attack or less. So this is mainly specifically for the Nerval. You can run Almirage if you want to. I run 2 Lightheart, which is the card I was talking about earlier. Scareclaw Lightheart is just 1 Scareclaw monster, and whenever he's summoned to the EMZ, the extra monster zone, he adds Field Spell. And then he has Recursion effect if you control Visa Starfrost to summon him back. It's a once per duel effect, so it's not super great. It is helpful if you really want to go that route and run Visa. I preferably don't. I just don't think Visa Starfrost right now contributes a lot to the deck. If there's more support that helps a lot more when you run Visa, I would recommend running it. But right now, I just feel it's not needed. It's just more clog, extra stuff that you don't need. So yeah, basically, he searches your field spell and you start your combo, because you would normal summon one of right card or run any other cards, go into this, add field spell, and field spell would add another one. So that's at least 2 cards of your combo to go into try hard. Now I run 1 Bear Brum. Bear Brum just requires 2 Tri-Brigade monsters, which I'm normally going to summon off of the effect of Kuraz or something like that. Just to make sure I get the Revolt ad. But other than that, it's mainly just an extender, really. Because whenever it's sent to Grave, I get to add a Tri-Brigade spell / trap. And after the ad, I gotta put 1 card on the bottom of the deck. all the Tri-Brigade Link monsters do something similar to that. I run 2 Baron Blossom, or Fairjeet, however you want to call it, because it is Tri-Brigade Fairjeet the Baron Blossom. Baron Blossom is just 2 Beast Warrior Wing Beasts. During the main phase, you can summon 1 lower 4 lower Beast Warrior Wing Beast monster from your hand. Also, you cannot use monsters as link material for the rest of the turn other than Wing Beast Warrior, and Beast monsters, which is no big deal because all the entire deck is Beast Warrior, except for 2. One's a Warrior, 1 Psychic. Most of the decks, those conjunctive types, so it's no big deal. In addition to that, if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can draw a card and then put one up on the deck. So it's similar to Bear Brum in that effect, but not necessarily as, it just draws. I run 1 Phoenix just to pop spells and traps if I see them. I run 1 Harvest Longa, the Desperate Doom Eagle, just to kind of really stop my opponent from touching their grave. You would have to summon this off of the Revolt or one of the Tri-Brigade monster effects. It requires 2+ wind monsters. There's no real easy way to summon this other than with off those effects. But he gains 240 attack while your opponent has no monsters in the graveyard. Quick effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent control, and it's 1 monster in your opponent's grave, shuffle it into the deck, and then that's all he does. But if you have an opponent, your opponent has no monsters in the graveyard, he goes to 48, which is pretty beefy, and it's really helpful just to get some of the pesky cards. Like your opponent, if you're playing against tier, just send that shit back. And I run 1 Rugal. Rugal's okay. It's mainly just an extra body. It's a Link 3. It just requires 2 Beast Warrior Wing Beast monsters. It adds back cards you need for combos, because it just during the main phase, during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, there's someone level 4 or lower Beast Warrior Wing Beast monster from your deck, from your grave to the field, and then the end phase, bounce it back to hand. He has a second effect whenever he goes to grave. You can make all monster opponent controls those out an attack for each monster type you control into the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Tri-Brigade Rugal with a Silver Shell once per turn. Then here I run 2 Tri-Heart. Tri-Heart's your big boss monster. You want to try to make him as much as possible. I only run 2 because you could technically banish this and shuffle it back off of other effects. Well, no, technically you can't shuffle it back, so it has to be Link Summon. So no, you can't summon it, you can't shuffle it back. But you can banish it off of other effects and then use it in the grave as well. It's not super helpful to be destroyed, but you really don't want this destroyed, so you try to protect it as much as possible. You can run 3, I just don't right now. I should, but I just don't. He's a Beast Warrior, he's dark, he just requires 3 effect monsters, period. And then whenever he's on the field, all monsters on the field become defense position. He's stumbling on legs. If you know what stumbling is, it's the same effect. And in addition to that, he has like a Floodgate-esque effect to where he's unaffected by defense position monster effects. So you can't target him, you can't blow him up, you can't do shit to him if it's a defense position monster. As well, he has an ignition effect, where you can target 1 level 3 Scareclaw monster in the grave, but summon it if you do add a Scareclaw monster. But then it locks you into Scareclaw for the rest of the turn. So yeah, Tri-Heart's your big boss that you really want to go into as much as you possibly can. And I run 1 Steel Star Regulator just because I have no real reason to run this. This is mainly just a filler card. I forgot to replace something with this. This could be a 3rd Tri-Heart, 3rd Light-Heart, whatever you really wanted to. I've used it like once, and it really hasn't helped. It's also just kind of to get stuff off the board. Just another Link 3. It legit serves no purpose. This could be any other card if you wanted it to. I also run a Nightmare Griffin. This is more viable than the Steel Star Regulator, because Nightmare Griffin can reset your Scareclaw traps if you need to. But I've never really had to use this because it's really hard to go into, because you never really want to link your Tri-Heart away. Or link any 2s into 2 and anything like that. So it's just normally not used. It can be replaced with something else. If not, anything really. If anything, you could legit put Unicorn in, that'd make better sense than Griffin. It's a good card, though. And last but not least, I run 2 Tri-Brigade Shureg, the Ominous Omen. He's just a simple non-target banished whenever he's summoned, or a Beast Warrior Wing Beast is summoned. So he just great. He's just another just good monster to summon off of any effect, off the revolt or anything like that. You can hard make him too if you need to, using Bear Brum and stuff like that, because he requires two plus Tri Brigade monsters to summon himself. But he's really helpful. In addition to, he has a grave effect like all the Tri Brigade Link monsters. Whenever he's sent to grave, from field to grave, you can add one beast warrior, wing beast from your deck equal to the number level equal to the number of banished cards you have or less. So say you have 4 banished cards, he's sent from field to grave, you can add any level 4 or lower beast warrior, or wing beast from the deck to the hand. So it adds any of your little guys or any Tri-Brigade, any Tri-Brigade monster in the deck. So that is all for my extra deck. I'm going to go over my side real quick, just because I run some interesting cards. I'm just curious what you guys think about them. No particular order. I run just a random kaiju. This can be any kaiju. I just like running kaijus. Just someone throws a tower monster at me, that stops me from playing. Easy side, just to throw at my opponent, make them lose their towers. I die to tower, so why not make my opponent's tower to die to kaijus? One pack just for targets and blow-ups. Get rid of cards, make things go boom. Pack simple. If your opponent controls more monsters than you, he acts like Cyber Dragon. Just summon. And then he tributes himself for cost, just to blow himself up. Target one card in the field, blow it up. I run 1 Harpies for spell and trap removal, 2 MST or Mystical Space Tattoo for the same thing. I like MST better than other cards because the deck's kind of grindy, so you don't really want to discard stuff for Twin Twister or pay life points for Cosmic. So this is a decent replacement. If you want to run either of the other two, you're more than welcome can. I just run these two for the time being. That's all the spells and monsters I run. I run 2 Trap Trick, mainly to set normal traps that I'm running as more floodgates in the deck. Because you banish 1 trap card and 1 normal trap, and then set another normal trap. So it's really helpful for doing stuff, setting more traps to use, but it limits you to 1 more trap activation that turn. I run a Parrot D Barrier, mainly to set off a Trap Trick. If I see both, I see both. If not, I at least get 1 activation for the turn for the duel. If I see Trap Trick, D Barrier, whenever your opponent declare 1 monster type from Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Ixie, or Pendulum, for the rest of the turn, you neither familiar can social summon that type or activate their effect. So this just helps stop decks in general. Anything of that list other than Link, it stops. It's a good card to throw at your opponent if they're running a lot of extra deck monsters of those types. I run 3 Gorgon's Eye. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what the hell is that thing? It's an older card. It's a normal trap. And the main reason why I run Trap Trick is because I want to see this. If I'm going first or something like that, I'm forced, and I know my opponent likes to use monster effects. Because Gorgon Eye reads until the end of the end phase, all effects of monsters on the field of defense position are negated, and it's a lingering effect, kind of how like Majesty's Fiend and stuff like that, where you just can't do it inherently and stuff like that anymore. It's a normal trap, so it can't be blown up with anything of like Ghost Ogre or anything like that. You can negate it with Solemn and like Solemn Judgment, but there's no real way to stop this unless you negate the trap outright. As Tryhard puts everything to defense, so this basically just combos into Tryhard even more, negating all the defense position monsters. So your opponent can't really even play at that point. And a new addition after the Trap Trick Structure deck, which came out technically today, but I got it yesterday because I went to an OTS store for my locals on Thursday, is Evenly Match. It's a good card. You throw it down, use it at the end of your battle phase, make your opponent shuffle everything back until an equal number of monsters. In this case, it would be 1 because it evenly counts. Just get rid of cards, and then you full combo after that. So yeah, it's a good chunk of stuff. All right, I am going. This is the end of the deck list. I'm gonna record another video to show some combos and some cool plays you can do. Until next time, keep collecting.